Welcome to A Gallen of Questions. I am Pat Gallen, and our guest this week is a college basketball legend here in Philadelphia. Was St. Joe's Hawks coach for 24 years, also coached at Michigan, but now he is back home. Mr. Phil Martelli is with us. Phil, how are you, my friend?
Pat, it's great to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a little while. I think the last time I saw you was Michigan playing Villanova in the Sweet 16? You guys were in San Antonio, maybe?
That was B1, but we also came back to the Palestra last year and played
That's right.
Penn State
That's right.
on Sunday afternoon. I'm not sure what the Birds were doing that day, but that's maybe where you were. But
I may have been.
It's always great to see you, Pat. Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for coming in. What's up these days? What are you up to? Staying busy?
Yes, that would be
it's a silly question.
That would be the idea of retiring doesn't really sit well with me. So I have had an opportunity where I will do TV.
Okay.
I'm working presently with Fox, a lot of Big East action, and then ESPN. We're going to execute that contract in the next couple of days. That will be some games, some studio. In the middle part of this, where I really started out, was the idea of I have a business now called Make a Difference.
Yeah.
That leads to corporate talks and school district talks.
Okay.
And they have energized me throughout late August, September, and then early October. Those talks have been great. And then I have a little bit of a consulting business where I'm talking to coaches.
Okay.
And not that I have answers,
Right.
but I have a lot of questions.
Sure.
And, things that I ask you about whether you're going to run a camp. If you're running a camp, how are you going to do that? What's your bench seating look like?
Interesting.
What's your scouting reports? So I have a couple of teams that I'm working with specifically the head coach, and I'm just really excited about the opportunities. And every day I look at the counter and say, well, that's something new.
Sure.
And I'm not in the gym worrying about a zone defense at that point.
Did you ever think that you'd come to the dark side of media? Was that ever on your on the table?
Interestingly enough, 6 years ago when I was let go at St. Joe's, I had a meeting with a big guru out of New York. And the guy sat across the table. In fact, it was Chicky and Pete's in South Philly where I met this guy.
Nice.
I don't know if they're a sponsor, but, they
we'll work
should
on
be.
that.
They should be. And he described this. And I said to him, to be honest with you, Pat, I said to him, I'm not ready. I need to be in a locker room to lift a guy up at his down moments and to celebrate at his high moments. Whether it's academic celebration, whether it's a social celebration, whether it's a basketball celebration. So it was in the back of my mind, but I think some people think it's a layup.
Yeah.
They don't understand how hard you have to work,
Amen.
how much preparation you have to do. And when you think about it, when you're preparing a scouting report, you're looking at one team. You already know your team.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and these auditions that I've had, I'm like, well, I have to study both teams.
Sure.
And but what I'm interested in doing is the same thing that I did when I was coaching, and that's that I be a little bit better in game 2 than I am in game 1, and that I earn the opportunity to do a marquee game.
Yeah.
All games are big games.
Absolutely.
The way I'm approaching this is, if it was and I'm just using these teams.
Sure.
If it was Lafayette and Colgate, great game.
Yeah.
Local ties, the whole bit. My mindset is somebody's grandmother's watching that game.
Heck yeah.
And that might be the only time she sees them. So I want to make sure that that young man and that coaching staff and that program and that university gets highlighted. That's what my mission is.
Now that someone like Jay Wright, who you've known forever, is in the game, have you reached out to people in the industry to get some tips and stuff like that?
Ironically, when I was going through the process of reaching out to these different networks, they all came back with, well, and I knew what they were saying. They have a Philadelphia guy, and Jay Wright. I'll say, well, unless your eyes are bothering you in some way, shape, or form, I'm not Jay Wright. I don't look like Jay Wright. I'm not going to deliver like Jay Wright.
Yeah.
But I am. They are interested in geographic diversity.
Sure.
I understand that. But you name it, you name the person, and I've talked to them. In fact, just this morning, I had a very lengthy conversation with Steve Lapis about game prep and game notes and game sheets. Tom McCarthy, you go on and on and on.
Phil, what we do on this show is I've got a can because my last name is obviously Gallen, so I carry a gallon can, and there's a bunch of questions in here. We pull them out, and we see where the road takes us. You want to jump in?
I'm all.
You want to do the first one? Grab one, and we'll see where we go.
All right. Hopefully it's printed enough.
I think it's. I made it a little bit larger, but we'll see.
Wow.
What's the question? Tell us.
Most fun coaching season you've ever had?
What stands out to you?
I was coaching Bishop Kenrick High School in Norristown, Pennsylvania, and I had a team that the Norristown Times-Herald labeled as the least talented team in the history of the school. They weren't being, and it was unusual. We had a young man started at guard, was 5'4". His backcourt mate was smaller than him. We had a tremendous sophomore in Brian Leahy who ended up playing at St. Joe's. He was a fabulous sophomore. We had a junior, Steven Scott. We had a senior, Brian Scott, who never shot, almost went the whole season not taking a shot.
Amazing.
We ended up winning 19 times because we executed every out of bounds and every special situation. We won 19 times and played in the Catholic League playoffs, and you know what that means.
Sure, yeah.
To make the playoffs in the Catholic League is a really big deal. So when I think of joy, that team and that season sticks out.
See, I knew I put that question in there. There was no way Phil Martelli was going to answer with 2003, 2004 St. Joe's Hawks. There had to be a deeper, meaningful team somewhere down the line. I'm glad that you answered that way. All right, let's see here. How would you describe your time at Michigan?
It was eye-opening how big and how efficient each and every person was. If you were in charge of phones, that's what you were great at.
Sure.
If you were nutrition, that's what you were great at. If you were strength and conditioning, that's what you were great at. So I would say eye-popping the Michigan experience, but also the Big Ten experience.
Yeah.
Because back here we think it's two conferences that just slam into each other and the toughest team always wins. The offensive minds in that league are just extraordinary.
Sure.
Led by a Philadelphian, Fran McCaffrey at Iowa.
Heck yeah.
And the arenas are big. The players were bigger. It was just eye-popping.
Some really incredible talent and coaching talent in the Big Ten for sure. Jump on in there. We'll see where we go.
This is really cool, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I like this.
I appreciate that. Because you never know where the road will take us. That's why I enjoy it so much.
What's the most heartbreaking moment of my career? I'll do big first.
Yeah.
The hardest day of my career as a high school coach or as a college coach was the day after the last game.
Okay.
Most times you're coming off of a loss, your last game. Two, the ego in all of us that do this believes that I just need one more day. One more day and I can fix the zone offense. One more day and I can help that kid get out of his funk.
Sure.
One more day has always I'm not there's not been a day after the last game of any season that I've been involved for almost 50 years where I haven't cried. I cry the day after the last game.
Sure. Makes sense.
Because I feel like I not underdelivered for all those young guys that I coached, whether it was at Kenrick or St. Joe's or at Michigan. That is the overview. But and it's not the 03-04 loss to Oklahoma State. It was a couple of years later. We played Xavier in Cincinnati, Atlantic 10 championship. And it was Pat Carroll and Chet Stakaitis and Dave Mao and Dwayne Lee. And those guys had worked so hard. We came from maybe we were 2-7 to start the year. We came all the way back. And we were playing in the championship game. and we lost on a last plus. We missed the switch on a last second play. They made a layup. Xavier wins the A10 championship. That one, that sits there.
Still
That
stings a
sits
little
right
bit.
there. That sits right there, because that would have been a phenomenal achievement. So it would have been 03, it would have been the 04, 05
Sure.
season, and it was a championship that got away. And again, I raise my hand and say it got away
Sure.
from me. I didn't. That one play. If I had that one play back, that's the one I
I
want.
can feel that in my chest as you discuss it. I know those feelings from back in the day. What is the most nervous you've ever been on a basketball court?
I think the most nervous was more as a parent.
Okay.
When I've watched my son Jimmy play for Scranton and for Dickinson at the prep.
Sure.
Philip and Jimmy, even as grade school players at St. Bernadette's and Drexel Hill. Elizabeth played at St. Bernadette's, and she played all the way up to the city championship.
Okay.
When she was in 8th grade.
Yeah.
And I would get nervous. I get nervous now watching when I watch Penn State play or I watch Bryant play.
Sure.
Because I want them to be rewarded for how hard they've worked at it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know how you no loss is ever just yours.
Sure.
It's your family, it's your friends, and you don't want anybody to have that feeling. So I do get nervous when I watch them in that area. For myself, the nerves would go away. The nerves would go away after I had said all my prayers and done my ritual
Yep.
in the locker room. When I came out on the court, it was like a teacher in a classroom saying, "Okay, Pat, here you go. You have chemistry.
Yep.
You're prepared.
Sure.
Go take the test."
Yeah, you've done all you can do to that
That's
point.
it.
I like that. All right, let's
Wow. As a parent, what are you most proud of?
kind of ties right into what we were just talking about.
I'm really proud. Philip has 3 children. Jimmy has 3 children, and Elizabeth has 4 children. I'm proudest of them as parents.
There you go.
When I watch them, when I step back, they are providing to their children what I pray for every young person out there,
That's great.
and that is that they're loved, not liked. That makes sense,
Yeah,
right?
it does,
I think it's
absolutely.
much more powerful for a parent to love their child, and it comes out in the way that the young people handle their business.
You got 11 grandkids running around. 10. Is it 10 now? 10. Yeah, 10.
10.
3, 4. Yeah. What's the time like at the shore? Is everybody like gathering at one time?
It's not as we haven't had the whole group, or I haven't been there when the whole group's
You
been there.
haven't been- yeah.
They did that last summer. This summer, we had a little bit of a overlap when Philip now, because Philip had to go up until August with camps and
Okay.
different things, and
Sure.
so he came down. Elizabeth was down with her 4, so that was 7, and then Jimmy's 2 daughters. I mean, tough life, 10-year-olds. They spent part of their time in Avalon, but the other part they went to Italy with their other grandparents.
What a summer. Tough one.
But it is joyous chaos.
I love it. That's the best kind. Best kind. Well, 'tis the season. Have you ever dressed up for Halloween? And if yes, what's the best costume?
Wow,
Everyone wants to know if Phil Martelli dresses up for Halloween.
I don't know if I've ever dressed up.
Ever?
I can't. Pat, it's
You
tough.
dressed up as a head coach?
It's tough to remember. yesterday. I do have
Sure.
I do have one story that kind of fits our theme in Philadelphia. I did dress up one time to meet the Flyers.
Okay.
Coming back to the airport, they had just beaten Boston one of the times that they were in the finals. So it was 75 or 76. I was in college, and I thought, you know what? I can get on the news. I can get on TV if I go to the game. If I go to the airport dressed as a goalie. So I went to the Widener goalie.
Yeah.
At
Got
the
the
time.
gear?
Got the gear and went down there. This is a true story. And as I'm walking through the parking lot, waddling through the parking lot with like 8 guys who have had 8 beers apiece from the frat house or wherever we lived at the time, I looked around. There were like 8 other dudes dressed, and I was like, yo, they stole my idea. I'm never going to get on TV now.
That's amazing. That is
so
fantastic.
I did dress up for that.
That is great. That's perfect. That'll be your Halloween. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given? Best piece of advice.
Wow.
I'm sure you've had some great people in your life to give you some of that advice. And these are like thinking questions. These aren't easy.
This was clearly from my parents, not only in words but in their actions. Respect everyone.
Nice and
Respect
easy,
everyone. Don't expect respect until you give it.
Love it.
And whether it was the mailman, whether it was a guy on the streets,
Sure.
in Center City, my parents lived that. They respected everyone. Oh, come on, Pat, give me some on this one.
I don't even know what it is. I can't wait to hear it, though.
I am really.
What do we have?
I watched the NBA last night,
Yeah.
right? The LA Lakers have 7 guys in sweatshirts and sneakers.
What's the question here?
Would you rather wear suit, sweats, or slacks?
Yeah, what's your go-to?
Suit, man.
That bothers you, huh?
It drove me nuts. It drove me nuts. I packed up all this nice gear to go out. Yep. Then we had COVID.
Oh, yeah,
and we're wearing,
changed everything.
And we're wearing sweatsuits. And now I will admit this. When I came home from Michigan, so I'm going to turn the question to you, Pat.
Yeah.
When I came home from Michigan, never in my life had I owned more than 2 pairs of sneakers at a time.
Really?
How many pairs of sneakers did I bring home from Michigan?
Michigan Nike school? Let's go with
Anna Jordan.
18 pairs of sneakers.
42 pairs of sneakers, and I had given away to my main man out there, Juan Matthews, who is the head of the building out there.
Yep.
He wore 11. I gave him 10 pair. I had managers. I brought home 42 pairs of sneakers, and it just so happens that my son Jimmy at Penn State wears 11, and
perfect.
All of a sudden a car showed up, and
that was it.
Yeah, I have 2 now, which is what I prefer.
That's all you want. All right, we'll finish on this. Every time I have someone in studio that is from Delaware County, I do a game called Delco or Not. So I ask them a landmark. It could be a person, place, or thing. Is it from Delco or is it not from Delco? Do you want to give it a shot?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. Delco or Not with Phil Martelli, the N.C. Wyeth House. Is that Delco or not Delco?
No, I'm going to say that's Chester County.
We're off on the wrong foot. It is Delco, the N.C. Wyeth House, very famous house.
Where might that
Delco. Be? If I'm blanking on the town. If I say the wrong town, I'll upset some people. Yeah. So I'm going to look into that. How about the Slinky? You know the Slinky. Was that originated in Delco?
No.
Phil Martelli.
I'm struggling.
It was. It was in Delco. Did you know that?
I did not
know
that.
We're learning things. I love this. Longwood Gardens, Delco or not Delco?
Wow, that's right on the border. No, it's Chester County.
You're correct. Not Delco, not Delco. How about Chad's Ford Winery? Delco or not?
Not Delco.
Not Delco. That is correct. Folsom Township. Is that in Delco?
Absolutely.
It absolutely is.
Absolutely. That's the heart.
That is the heart.
That's the heart. Baltimore Pike, that's like Upper Delco.
Yep.
State Road, that's suburban Delco, right? You got to have it
different
right.
Delcos. We know that.
That's different ones.
Quarterback Matt Ryan. Is he Delco or not Delco?
Oh, I knew this. Penn Charter High School. Penn Charter High School. Downingtown?
Correct.
Not Delco.
Westchester area,
Yes.
not Delco. That's correct. How about Delaware head coach Martin Inglesby? Delco or not Delco?
All right, so
Martin Inglesby.
Tom and Rose's parents live right up there, right off of 252. That is absolutely Delco.
That is absolutely Delco. We're talking streets now. We're going through
Yeah.
the map in
I
our
gotta go
heads.
through
That's
the
the way
whole
it
thing.
goes. Pika's Pizza. Is that Delco or
Oh,
not?
please stop, stop. Now, hold on, Pat.
Which?
Trick question,
Yeah.
right? Westchester Pike, there's a Pika's that's more
Yeah, but
out
what's
towards
the original
Westchester.
Pika's?
The original,
You
come
know
on,
what the
Upper
original
Darby,
is.
right down the
Absolutely.
street from the observatory, great court with a side bank on it.
All right, last one. Widener University. Is that Delco or not?
Please. Widener, proud grad, 76.
There you go.
Going to be at their Hall of Fame dinner Friday night.
Excellent.
To just congratulate everybody, but Chester is Delco.
Very much Delco, and so is Phil Martelli. Phil, this is a lot of fun. Thanks so much for
Pat,
stopping
thank you.
by. It's great to see you, my friend.
It is great. I hope I can get called back. I got to take a putt. I got to be involved.
Well, we got a putt here before we go. Thanks, my friend. Good to
Thank
see
you.